What if I told you that right now, in a secret testing facility, Apple is building robots that could fundamentally change how we interact with technology at home? And no, I'm not talking about robot vacuums or some distant sci-fi fantasy. These are actual devices. One looks like the Pixar lamp, another rolls around on wheels like an iPad with legs, and they're closer to reality than you might think. But here's where it gets interesting. Apple's targeting 2027 for the first release, yet some insiders are saying it won't happen until 2028 or even later. So what's really going on behind closed doors at Apple Park? Let's dive in. You might be wondering, why is Apple suddenly interested in robots? Well, it turns out this isn't exactly sudden. After Apple canceled their self-driving car project, they needed a new frontier. And they're not just dipping their toes in the water here. They've consolidated their entire robotics division under John Ternus, their hardware chief, after removing it from their AI department in April 2025. Think about it this way. Apple's nearly a decade behind Amazon and Google in the smart home market. They need something revolutionary, not just another smart speaker. And that's where robots come in. But here's the twist. They're not trying to build humanoid robots like Tesla or Boston Dynamics. Apple's taking a completely different approach. Let me paint you a picture of Apple's main robot, codenamed J595. Imagine a 7-inch iPad screen mounted on a thin robotic arm that can rotate 360 degrees and extend 6 inches in any direction. The team internally calls it the Pixar lamp, and honestly, that's exactly what it looks like. But what can it actually do? Picture this. You're cooking dinner and having a FaceTime call. The robot tracks your movements, keeping you in frame as you move around the kitchen. When you say, "Look at me," it turns to face you. It recognizes different family members through facial recognition and automatically adjusts preferences. It's essentially your smart home command center, controlling thermostats, security systems, HomeKit devices, but with a personality. The base contains perforated speakers and microphones, and the whole thing can be wall-mounted if you prefer. Apple's targeting a price of around $1,000, which, well, that's definitely Apple pricing, but it's actually competitive when you consider what competitors are charging. Amazon's Astro costs $1,599, and that's only available by invitation. Here's where things get really fascinating. This isn't just about hardware. It's about a completely reimagined version of Siri. And when I say reimagined, I mean it. This new Siri, powered by large language models, can actually inject itself into conversations between multiple people. Imagine you're discussing dinner plans with your family. The robot might chime in with restaurant recommendations based on what it's hearing. It has long-term memory, voice recognition for different users, and natural language understanding that actually works. Apple's even developing a new operating system called Charismatic, specifically for these multi-user environments. But here's what might surprise you. They're testing visual personalities for Siri, including animated characters that are, and I quote, vaguely reminiscent of Clippy. Yes, Microsoft's Clippy. Though knowing Apple, it'll probably be significantly less annoying. Now, the tabletop robot is just the beginning. Apple's also working on a mobile home robot. Think of it as an iPad on wheels that follows you around your home. It could handle simple tasks, answer questions, facilitate video calls, but here's the reality check. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman reports this faces extraordinarily difficult engineering challenges. Why? Well, have you seen the average home? Cluttered floors, stairs, pets, children's toys everywhere. Creating a robot that can navigate real homes, not pristine laboratory environments, is incredibly complex. We're probably looking at the 2030s for this one, if it happens at all. There's also a manufacturing robot in development, codenamed T1433, designed for retail backrooms and industrial applications. And get this, Apple's even published research on anthropomorphic robot designs that show sadness when excluded from activities. Though let's be honest, that sounds slightly creepy. So when can you actually buy one of these robots? Well, that's where things get complicated. Apple initially targeted 2026-2027 for the tabletop robot, but analyst Ming-Chi Kuo now predicts mass production won't begin until 2028 or later. Why the delays? It turns out building useful home robots is harder than anyone anticipated. The new LLM-powered Siri has experienced what insiders call hiccups. The reorganization in April 2025 happened because management was frustrated with the AI team's lax attitude. They even mockingly called it AI-less internally because of repeated delays. Here's something interesting, though. Apple might release a simplified smart display without robotic features by mid-2026, codenamed J490. Think of it as testing the waters before diving into full robotics. So here's the bottom line. Apple's betting big on robots as the next frontier after smartphones and wearables. They're not trying to build humanoid robots or compete with Tesla. Instead, they're creating something uniquely Apple, premium home devices that blend AI, robotics, and their ecosystem advantages. Will it work? Well, consider this. Only robot vacuums have achieved mainstream success in home robotics. Amazon's Astro hasn't exactly set the world on fire. Samsung's Bally has been delayed since 2020. But then again, people said similar things about smartwatches before the Apple Watch. The real question is, would you pay $1,000 for a robot that's essentially a smart display with personality? Or are we still years away from robots being truly useful in our homes? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive useful, consider subscribing. I'll be tracking Apple's robotics journey as it unfolds.